Hello everyone. Tom speaking. I am going to run through some vocabulary that my cousin and I talked about in the following audio that you're going to listen to. We talked about a few things like our trip, a few things about Colombia and United States, and the first word we talked about is to hook something up. So I mentioned that I hook my system up. So you can hook up a recording system, you can hook up the television system, the sound system, hook up something to connect something, basically. The next is swimmingly. My cousin says that something went swimmingly, despite running into a few problems. The next is to go off without a hitch. A hitch is a slight setback or something that impedes your progress. So if something goes off without a hitch, it happens without any major problems. That being said, we definitely did hit a few snags or hitches on our trip. So you'll hear a little bit more about that. The next word is mantelpiece. A mantelpiece is a structure of wood or stone above your fireplace, and it's often full of family photos. It's basically a shrine to you and your loved ones. My cousin Pax will definitely go on my future mantelpiece as the first person in my family to visit me. Española, New Mexico, which is just south of Los Alamos, where the Manhattan Project took place. The Manhattan Project, of course, is where they produced the atom bomb, the atomic bomb that was eventually dropped on Japan. This project, the Manhattan Project, took place just outside of Española, New Mexico, which is where my mother's best friend currently lives. Uniquely American fashion. In a uniquely American way or style, just like we use the phrase in similar fashion to pad our research paper. Oh, there's a new phrase for you, to pad something. We often talk about padding our writing with sophisticated, often needless material. Provided that. Provided that is a fancy way to say if. It's speaking about a condition. So we can go to the park tomorrow, provided that it doesn't rain. Provided that. Feasible. Feasible is something that is able to be done easily or conventionally. A 4x4 Jeep or a 4x4 vehicle is four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. A vehicle you need to get through the rough Colombian roads. There are, of course, various shapes and sizes of a car that has four-wheel drive. Out and about. If people are out and about, they are out of the house doing something. Perhaps they're running errands, maybe they're out to lunch in the museum. They've simply gone out for something. Yield on the sidewalk. To yield is to cede something. Like you allow someone to go ahead of you in line, you back down on an argument, and in this case, like in traffic, you have to decide who is going to maintain course, or in other words, keep walking in the same direction, and who is going to yield their position and move out of the way. This is a common children or adolescent game where the objective is to be the last one standing, maintaining course, not giving up their position to the other. This can be done with people standing in the street. I think to better explain this one, we need to head over to Youglish to check it out. A game in which two players engage in an activity that will result in a serious damage unless one of them backs down. It is commonly applied to the use of motor vehicles, whereby each player drives a vehicle of some sort towards each other, and the first to swerve loses and is humiliated as the chicken. This was something I knew of growing up, and it's possible we played something like this with bicycles, but I really don't know how common the game is, as it has the potential to do serious damage, not only to yourself, but to the car or bicycle you're using. Nowadays, it's used metaphorically to describe a contest to see who blinks first, who is going to back down and acquiesce to the other's pressure. Turn a phrase. It could be an idiom or a collocation. It is an accepted manner of expression in a language. We often talk about whether it was a good or well-executed turn of phrase. An awkward turn of phrase is also possible if that phrase that you tried just doesn't quite work. It could be an awkward turn of phrase. To fall out of fashion. If something falls out of fashion, well, it no longer becomes popular. We often talk about falling out as being in a disagreement or fight or quarrel with someone. It could result in damaging the relationship that you have with someone. So, for example, I fell out with my friend Jason. To fall out of fashion, as fashion often does, is to become no longer generally liked. Really, it's the opposite of to catch on. If something is catching on, it is starting to become popular, whereas fall out of fashion is no longer becoming popular. So there you go, everyone. I hope you enjoy the talk with my cousin, and here's a little bit of vocabulary from part 1. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.